Hi, my name is Jason Baird. Today we'll be showing you 4 different fighting systems for surviving on the streets. When you're new to the martial arts, they all seem the same. After you've been involved for a while, you start to see that they're all radically different. Some like to kick, some like to punch, some like to go to the ground. Some are aggressive, some are passive. They all have their own personality or style. Like music, country's not the same as heavy metal, and heavy metal is different from classical. One thing people say before they get involved in the martial arts is, that stuff, it doesn't work. Well, they're both right and wrong at the same time. The secret to choosing a martial art is to remember they're just like tools. You have to ask yourself, that art, what is it best suited for? A hammer isn't better than a saw, it's just made for a different application. There is no one best style. It all depends on you, the environment, and the situation. Some martial arts are focused on moving meditation and spiritual harmony. Some have been adapted for sports. It's all about sticking to the rules, not getting anyone hurt, and winning the competition. Some of the styles of today are focused on self-confidence and building discipline. Some martial arts seem stuck in the past. They have not adapted to the modern environment. What we have done today is select 4 martial arts that are still focused on fighting for your life on the streets, where there really are no rules, not even one. Let's check them out.
Moni Isaac is the founder of Combat Survival, Commando Krav Maga. In the 1970s, he helped in the development of Krav Maga, the hand-to-hand combat system for the Israeli army. The former Israeli judo and jiu-jitsu champion and special forces combat veteran has the experience and training to know what is effective and what is not. He also trained UFC champion Carlos Newton and Olympic judo champion Yael Arad. Grand Tuhan Gahe is the supreme grandmaster of the Pikiti Tersha Kali system and is recognized as one of the world's leading authorities in edge weapons. Pikiti Tersha is a Filipino system of combat that fights at all ranges and is based on fighting with bladed weapons against multiple opponents. The transferable techniques can be applied in a similar way with any edged or impact weapons and empty hands. Sifu Michael Casey is one of Eman Bostepi martial arts system's highest-ranking instructors in Wing Chun, the Chinese art of fist-fighting made famous by Bruce Lee. Wing Chun Kung Fu is legendary for its straightforward and compact, yet refined system. He is a former German full-contact kickboxing champion who left kickboxing when he found Wing Chun to be the most realistic and effective system he had ever seen. The Bullet Man, Bill Kipp, is a pioneer in adrenaline training and believes that learning to deal with adrenaline stress and how to deal with different scenarios is more important than what technique is used. In fact, he believes that many techniques will not work under the stress of a vicious attack and that verbal tactics can avoid many fights from happening in the first place. He has logged over 30,000 live adrenal stress scenarios against experienced and unexperienced opponents going full power against him in his padded suit. There are many ways that you can be attacked on the streets, and here are just a few. It is hard to know whether or not they want to scare you, hurt you, or kill you, and it all happens so fast. Even what should be a simple fistfight sometimes ends in death. Let's see how each martial art responds differently to the same attack. The common roundhouse, boxing, or barnyard type of punch usually starts with a verbal assault. With little time to prepare, verbal abuse can turn into an attack. This is a very common street attack and is done by both trained and untrained opponents.
Look too good. Excuse me?
Excuse me?
What?
Excuse me?
Hey, come on. That's cool.
So in confrontation situation that somebody start a verbal attack on you, you want to look in a ways that you are not putting attack on him. At the same time, you have to be prepared. The best is to keep your hands here like, okay, man, what do you want? I'm okay, relax, and so forth. Your hands are ready to protect yourself. You look at him, but at the same time, you don't have to look that you want to fight him. So standing like this against somebody, it's immediately inviting a fight. You're standing like, okay, everything is okay. And from here, if he's attacking, then you have to respond. So the first thing we do as he attack, instead of staying and going backward, I'm going in. And as I go in, I am blocking and at the same time going to the nose. And remember, even the strongest and biggest person, if you push his nose back, his entire center of gravity going back. And we can actually demonstrate it for you right now. Walk forward. Okay. Now walk forward. Walk. So simple. It's impossible to walk forward when even the tiniest hand pushing your nose, because this is connected to a nervous system right there. So that's why we are doing it at the same time. We're coming with open hand and we're hitting with a palm. The reason for that, I don't believe in punch to the face. People don't realize punching to the face, the head, the scalp, is almost like a bowling ball. And many people breaking their fingers by trying to punch, unless they're very conditioned for punching. So coming with the open palm from underneath, like a wave, to the nose, pushing the nose back, will create a strong impact. Mostly it will be a broken nose right there. But we don't stop there. So let's see the first move. As I'm moving in, swinging underneath like a wave, using my legs to get momentum coming in, and this is the first move. And if you see the hands that blocked here, is ready to do now, right after, there is a stretch here, the lock. I'm wrapping the hand around the elbow and turning. So it's important not to stay facing him. When I do that, I'm turning sideways to him, like two good buddies that's standing one next to the other. This is a way to remember. You want to turn completely. So I'm here, turning here. And as I turn, as more I lift it here, more pressure is going to feel. If I want to take him down, and he's not down yet, I'm lifting my elbow, and he's going down. From here, a kick, and stay away. Don't try to punch him.
So what I did here was, first of all, keep my distance. The first shot that you saw probably would have ended very badly for that person because he was too close to the attacker and also had his hands down. So when you saw me in the starting position, first thing that I did is took a step back to keep a safe space for myself, and I had my hands up so I'm ready to defend myself. Now, when the attack starts, my option is to move out of the way. I can either hit him with the palm or with the fist here. It doesn't really matter. What I'm doing is I'm stepping in, I'm punching him. And also what you see is I'm deflecting and punching at the same time. So I don't waste time on blocking the punch first, but it goes in one motion. Again, one motion. So he does not have time to recover and attack me again. From here, I just continue to hit him, either open palms or chain punches, following him all the way to make sure he does not recover to attack me again. Control him, possibly finish with an elbow strike.
This principle is the principle of hand blade. Hand blade because we are going to cut into that line and be able to shoot in this process here and be able to lock that in and be able to control the subject. By this principle, we can eject necessary takedowns and be able to lock in and be sure that that is in full control. Be able to release and be able to lock it in this process. So we have a good control of this person. Piquet-to-terre shakali, a system that is knife cultured oriented. And this is what is the Filipino fighting art is about. The knife-oriented system is prepared for unarmed and unarmed combat. And this is what we are going to show against an opponent who is going to attack on elements of surprise and elements of combat will be applied by the use of knife principles and combat techniques.
Oh, sorry, dude.
You're right, you're sorry, man.
Whoa, hey, buddy, I don't want any trouble. I don't want to fight you.
You got trouble coming.
Dude, I don't want any trouble. Let's just chill, okay?
That's too bad.
Dude, let's chill. I don't want any trouble.
I'm not chilling either.
Okay, so you just saw a classic confrontation between two guys walking down the street, bumping shoulders. It happens all the time. Now, the truth is, in these situations, they're not that hard to de-escalate if you just don't screw up. But what happens is a lot of people screw up. But first, let's break that down. Look at what happened in this situation where it went to a fight, even though I tried to keep it from becoming a fight. So we're walking down the street. He started coming in. Now, I could see it happening before he ever got to me, and I could also feel his presence. And in most situations, most people could get out of the way, but I didn't, and maybe you can't in a real situation. So here we go, boom. Now, this is where most people do the classic mistake of chest comes up, the indignant look, and boom. And then next thing you know, it's like gas on the fire, and it's invariably gonna come to a fight. But what I did there was I tried to de-escalate the situation. The best thing to do here is, one, keep your distance. What happens is guys tend to puff up that shoulder, the chest, and then next thing, they're nose to nose, and in their mind they're going, I don't want to fight this guy, but they're caught in their macho behavior, and now it's a tough situation. So what you want to do is you want to keep your distance. You have many more options when you can keep at least a 2-arm length distance. So that's what I want to employ at best case scenario. What I did was I took a defensive posture. Hands came up. This is the universal gesture of neutrality, and it communicates, I don't want any trouble. So I'm trying to communicate, trying to calm this guy down. He was really incensed, and he wouldn't have anything of it. But if you'll notice, I said some interesting things. I said, I don't want to fight you. You've got to think about witnesses. You know, when we get in a fight, we don't realize that people have very selective memories when a fight happens. They're in their adrenal minds. They don't remember so clearly. So you want to help the witnesses help you by saying things like, I don't want to fight, let's calm down, let's just chill out, things like that. As opposed to getting in and being all macho, where even if you're the defender, if a witness sees that, they may choose you as the attacker. So at that point, I was trying to de-escalate, trying to calm the guy down. He came in anyway. Okay, at this point, it's not a game. This is a full-on scenario. So in my technique, all we did, it was very simple. I moved in with my hands up. Remember, the hands were already up. So I'm not doing any fancy blocks or anything. I'm just moving in. Bang, I went for a palm strike. Now, in this situation, it kind of stunned him a little bit. He came back. Now, the truth is, if you really land a good palm strike, now notice I'm going anywhere in the nose area, the facial area. Of course, there are better strike areas than others, but in the heat of the moment, getting fine motor skills, getting pressure points, and really exact locations is very difficult to do. So the basic thing is go for the head area in general. The nose is a great target. Most fights, in my experience, having been in dozens and dozens of real fights, most fights are over if you really, bang, you really go for it, that's going to end most fights. But here we took it to extremes. So this guy is a big, tough guy, drunk, and he didn't respond to that. He came back at me again. I think he actually grabbed me. I think I might have given a knee to the groin, a great technique. Now, this is a situation that happens with a lot of people when they get into fights, because in the adrenaline rush, people tend to get real choppy, and they lose their hip motion, and they hold their breath. That's the beginning of the freeze response. And what happens is you get into this classic flailing motion. So what happens is people are doing this, it's not working, and then they get into the clench. Well, this isn't a bad thing if you know what to do from here. So the groin is a great target. So all I did was I loaded my leg and just give a good strike to the groin. That's going to stop most fights right there as well. Okay, but that didn't work either. He came back at me. I think I went for an elbow, okay? Just a straight forearm shot. That's going to stop most fights as well. You'll notice that when I was fighting, I was doing a very loud voice action. The way you get the power inside out, in other words, the way you break the freeze response is through your voice. Hey! And that's where you get maximum power, and that's what you want to have if you've got to get into a fight. Here we took it to the worst case scenario. So after I gave him, I gave him a forearm, bang, he dropped down, just kind of dazed and confused. Now, I'm not saying to do this every time in a real fight. Here, I'm just training to go to the full extent. In other words, maybe the guy's kind of groggy, and I feel like he could still come back after me. So in that particular situation, you saw I chose to come in, wham, do a knee into his head, and that was the end of the story.
While at longer range, a side kick is a more sophisticated attack by those trained in the martial arts. It is a powerful kick that comes in straight and can be hard to deal with.
Want to try the hanger?
I don't know. Maybe.
Some ball point.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Want to try that?
Yeah.
Hey, excuse me? Excuse me? What? Hey, wait.
When somebody throw a kick on you, a side kick, stepping back will create a situation that he's extending his legs. So stepping back, meaning he will continue to come to you and kick again. So what we want to do is not step back, but we want to step sideways. As we do that, we move the leg out of the way. Now we kick the back of the leg from here, where it's bending. As it falls, we have many ways to finish. This is one of them. I'm wrapping my hand around the ankle, lifting it here, up, and basically we are creating a lot of pressure on the Achilles, and we can actually dislocate his foot.
In this scenario, the person probably has some sort of martial arts training because he's coming in with a little bit more refined attack. My response to that, again, is keeping a safe distance so I have enough time and space to react. As he's coming in with the attack, I step off to the side, control his leg. At the same time, I will give him a stomp kick to the back of his knee that will drop him. I stay with him, continue to attack him again so he doesn't have a chance to attack me another time.
In our technique, we do what we call muscle tendon destruction. This process, be able to control and be able to completely get that pain include so that there will be no possibility of counter. Leg the leg, like the arm, and continue the process.
Whoa, sorry, dude. Didn't even see you.
Dude, watch where you're going,
Hey,
man.
I apologize, man. I don't want any trouble.
I don't want your apology.
Buddy, I'm sorry, okay? Let's chill. I don't want
You're
any
right,
trouble.
you're gonna
I don't
be
want to fight
sorry.
you, man. I don't want to... Hey, I don't want to fight you, dude, okay? Let's chill, okay?
Well, you think you're
Let's
tough?
just calm this down right now. I don't want any trouble.
Come on, you
I don't want
started
any
it.
trouble. Back up. Back up! Stay down. Stay down. This attack was your classic martial arts side kick. Now, This is another technique that's used in real situations. Very rarely do I see it used effectively. For one thing, this is not a vital target area. If the defender is really adrenalized, and you can take a pretty good shot in the gut. The vital areas are the groin, the head, the knees. However, it certainly does happen. And again, it's with martial artists doing a side kick. Now, it's not that difficult to defend against. Again, if you just don't freeze up and you can be coherent and keep your distance, then you've got a good chance of blocking it, getting out of the way, etc. But what do people do? They freeze up, they tunnel vision on the person, and they take a shot to the gut, and next thing you know, they're going backwards, and the guy can jump on them and do whatever he wants to do. So first thing I'm doing is, again, I'm doing my verbal de-escalation. The best technique for self-defense is verbal, our ability to talk this guy down, to de-escalate the situation. It almost always works if it's done correctly. But in this situation, it was one of those guys who just is not going to back down. But I was still trying. I was covering myself for a legal case if I have to later on, trying to calm this guy down, doing my verbal demeanor, etc. That didn't work. He came in for the side kick. All I'm doing is just getting a little bit of distance and hitting his foot down. Nothing fancy. Okay, again, I'm just moving back. Whoa, bang! Just slapping it down. It's not real complicated. If I could get off to the side, let's say it comes in, and I can get off to the side, that's great. But typically, things happen pretty quickly, and there's rarely enough time to have that much dexterity. The common response when someone's doing that is to want to get their body out of the way. Well, we're going to go with that common response. It's a human nature response. It comes in, whoa, bang! Now, once again, you see, I didn't go in to fight him at that point. Okay, I'm going to try to de-escalate. Hey, listen, I don't want any trouble. I can still keep my distance. We're not in close fisticuffs range. We're still out in that kind of martial arts sparring distance. So I still have the possibility to de-escalate it and talk this guy down. In this situation, it didn't work, so he moved in. Bang! I went in for a palm strike, and that was the end of the story.
We're going to deal now with two wrist held from the behind. So he's grabbing my wrist from behind, and this is an escape. And regardless of his strength, you're going to find that you're escaping naturally. And the reason that it's so easy, all you have to do is bring the right side of your hand up. And as you do that, step forward and bring your hand in semicircle motion forward. If he's very close to you, use your bum to bump to him. So what I do is, when I'm doing this, I'm actually pushing him a little bit further. And as you step away, obviously you're turning to him, and then there is always punishment. And turning. When both elbows are held from the back, you have few options. When you grab your elbows, you are restrained with the upper body, but it's not stopping your lower body. So what I do, I'm doing a semicircle motion behind him. I'm moving my left foot in this case toward his outside. Not too far, just slightly outside. And then the other hip is going behind him. So from here to here. I have to make sure that the foot from the back will not be the same direction of his foot. So I'm not exactly there, I'm more sideways to him. So when I'm on the side to him now, I can do the move. From here to here. Now pay attention to my right foot. This is the direction of the right foot. Now, I'm stepping out, but my hands stay inside, behind his knees. Moving my legs and my hands behind his knees. This is a moment that I'm going to use now, a pelvis hip lift. It's not with the strength, it's only with a wave maneuver that we're doing from here. This is a wave maneuver that driving from the legs up here. You don't really have to lift them a lot, just slightly to feel the power that you can actually lift somebody even double of your weight by doing the maneuver here. It's driving from here up. As soon as you lift him up, obviously, you take him down. Take him down directly to his head, if you really don't like the guy, or slowly bring him down and kiss him. One more option for you, which is a very simple option, but very, very effective. You're moving your feet the same way as you moved before, but this time you're using the hand to hammer the groin. You can hammer the groin by holding from the back the groin and hitting from here or just from the front. Usually 3 times is good enough to do the move, and you solve the problem.
We're going to get into the explanation of the soft forward rolls now. These are completely different than any of the hard falls that we've done before, and that also means that the context that we're going to be using them is completely different as well. Situation of fight, usually when someone is being thrown, especially if I'm supporting him, he's doing a hard break fall. He doesn't really get a chance to do any kind of roll from here. It's next to impossible. The situation where we're going to be rolling is more issue of a projectile throw. Maybe I'm throwing him over my head, or he's falling and he's losing balance forwards, this kind of thing. I've also used it myself when I've fallen backwards and then had to turn instead of falling on my back and done a roll this way. But the context that we're using is completely different. At any rate, let's get into the stancing when we start, how to roll soft, nice and round, in addition to how to stand up properly in a good balance. The main issue with any kind of forward roll, soft forward roll, is to be as round as possible and as soft as possible, almost cat-like. That being said, the first steps you're going to make from now in terms of setting your actual roll up are going to be so important for determining everything else. So what I'm going to do with Joel now, just to determine if he's right or left-handed dominant, is just a little test to see now if he's going to be stronger on his right side or his left side. In this case, he's going to be stronger on the right side. We know it's the right side because his right foot is coming forward. So this is how we determine the right roll for this versus the left roll. right foot is right roll. So what I'm doing now is going back to where his foot was, go back to where your foot was. This is about a comfortable stance where I'm going to get him to widen up his stance just a little bit. Don't, in terms of bring this leg back a little bit. Back, 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 back to me. Good. He's going to make a triangle now. It's going to be 3 points. The opposite hand from the foot that's on the front is going to go down on the floor now, right underneath the shoulder. So this hand is going to go down. That's right. Fingers pointing forward. So the fingers are going to point the same way as the toes. At the same time, it's very important that the heel of the back leg is going to be off the ground, lifting up, pointing towards the ceiling. This way. You can even bring this leg back a little bit to widen up your base. You'll notice that his feet are not on the same line now, right? And his base is wide, so he has balance here. Almost like he's a football player, he's going to tackle someone, he's going to a point where he's going to lunge forward. Okay, so we check his balance, make sure he's stable from here. Yeah, it's a good way if you have a partner, you can test yourself. You'll notice if the foot comes in, bring your foot closer to the other foot from here. You'll see you'll lose balance very easily if you're off. It's important to keep this heel up because if the heel is down, the tendency is for this foot to twist. And if this twists, and he's going to fall on his side, which we don't want. Okay, so this is here. Toes and fingers are pointing forward. At the same time, this leg is not too far back. You got a good, almost 90-degree bend in the knee. You can be a little bit higher. But I don't want this leg to be too long. Otherwise, too much weight is going to be here. It's going to be hard to project forwards. Okay. Very important, while we're being round and soft, that the head never touches the ground. This is so important. Obviously, you never, ever want your head to be hitting the ground when you're rolling. So from here, he's tucking his head in, almost like he's going to be looking at his toe, and his arm is going to be protecting his head just in case. So it's almost like a curve from here. That's right, this way. This is the stance. Go back. It's important when you're learning just to practice setting that up, just to get into the habit, because in a real situation, you don't really have a chance to step properly and all this kind of stuff. It has to be done naturally. Set it up again. Test yourself. The right side. He's checking all the points from here. Good. Tuck the head down. What also happens when he tucks his head down is makes his back more round. Right? We want to be like a sphere. Okay? I don't want to roll directly on the spine. The angle is going to be more from here. It's diagonal across the body from here. So from here, Joe, what I want you to do is just roll forward. Yeah. And I don't care how you end up. I just want to see the roll. Go. Nice and soft. Good. Let's clean up the ending now. As I mentioned, you're going to be always weakest during your transition. So what does that mean? Usually in a situation, if you're falling this way, means the person that made you fall is over here. So when you get back up from your fall, you got to make sure you're facing this way, and you also got to make sure you're in a good stance and ready for whatever is happening. If you're going to be standing up and you're standing perfectly straight, you're completely vulnerable. You might as well stay on the ground because you're finished. So from here, go down, and this time, when you roll, start getting into the habit now of standing up and facing me. Go. Now what I liked is the positioning of his legs in the transition when he was getting up with one knee down. Come back. And let's see what I'm talking about. Come over here for a second. A good way to practice is just to be aware of this stage. Okay, so I have one knee down, one knee up, and I'm already starting to get into a good position, as opposed now to coming up feet together and whatnot. So what's going to end up happening is when I'm coming up now, I'm standing up facing over here. You'll notice that when I rolled, I didn't use my hands to get up. I'm going to have to use my hands to protect myself. So this would be wrong. This is wrong because your head is completely exposed. In the beginning, if you need the momentum, it's okay to use the hands a little bit, but you want to eventually get out of the habit of using your hands at all. Eventually, you're going to use your hands for momentum just to get up on their own. In other words, when I'm rolling from here, your hands are helping you get up from here. The stance at the end is what we call in survival the T stance. So if you look at my feet now, my base is wide. The forward leg has the toes pointing towards the attacker. So if Joel would be over here, I'm going to be facing him over here. And the back leg is going to be open here, toes pointing 90 degrees to the side. Again, it's a mistake to have the feet in line. I have no base here, and I have no stability. Lateral. This has to be out. At the same time, not too wide. I need to be comfortable so that I can move. Knees are bent, but only so much that I need to move. At the same time, the hands are up protecting the face, getting ready for the attacker. The forward hand is a little bit out, just in case I need to feel the range. He's going to be coming to me probably. This helps sometimes keep a distance, keep him away, I can feel. The other hand's protecting the face, but it doesn't have to be this way. There's different options. Another common mistake is the angle on the line that people roll on. So the tendency for many people is when they roll on an angle. Once you get the stance and you start to get the big picture of the roll, you can start fine-tuning the little points, but they're important points. So usually if you're practicing on mats, there's going to be lines in the mats. What I'm going to do is set up my base, hand in line with the foot, with the line directly up my middle. So I know that the line is going to be in front of me, and when I stand up I have to finish on the line. The tendency is to veer a little bit. Perfect. Right in the middle. Okay? So this is something to look out for. Another major point is the spacing between you and the attacker when you stand up. So if, let's say now Joel is pushing, let's say Joel is behind me from here and he's pushing me, and he's coming after me when he stands up, I might not need to be here. I might not want to be here. So in survival, it's not fixed and it's not a rigid system. If he's coming to me, I'm going to need to move back, and this is fine to create some kind of space. So my stance can be here, but if I need more space, I can step back now and stand in the opposite stance and still be facing him. So this is one option. The second option, if I need, it's fine if he's coming to me from here, is I'm just shuffling, creating a space, creating a distance. If you need the space, it's there, it's fine.
Now we're dealing with the front bear hug underarm. When you start grabbing it this way, which is kind of stupid hold, but it might happen, you remember you have free hands to do whatever you want and you have legs to work with. So I'll show you a few options that you have here. One, you actually pull his head back by grabbing the hair, and if he doesn't have hair, just under the nose, you push back. As you do that, you expose his neck. You grab the Adam apple from both sides, sink your fingers in, and when you put it in, you can actually pull it out. From here, out to you. 2 fingers, and out. Let's see it one more time. This is the position. It's very strong pressure. And out. Other option that you have from here is using your knee for the groin. As you hear, you put 2 hands behind him, take the knee back, and going from underneath to the groin. Remember, the attack to the groin has to come as the knees that come under up. You do not want to attack the groin this way. You want to come from underneath into. Any pressures that you do from down up will be much stronger than straight. So from here. In order to do that, we're sinking the hip further and coming underneath. Another option that you have is a head twist. We've done it before. It's very useful here. One hand going as far as you can to his ear, the other one to the nose from the front. Twisting up and turning. Circle motion while you're pivoting, taking down. Even the strongest man, when you start twisting his nose, he's going down. Now we're going to deal now with a choke from the back. The first thing you have to realize, if somebody comes with a very strong shove from the back to your neck, you have to establish a good balance. So when he's actually pushing, you want to move 1 foot forward for a balance and bend your knees. As you do that, you pivot with the shoulder back. So do the same. And now I'm turning slightly, inserting my hand to the groin, and from there up underneath the chin to the eyes. So it's 1 and 2. If my arm is longer than his, most cases it's only going to release you right there. But if I'm short and he's tall, I won't be able to do that. I will push slightly, but I won't be able to stretch my arm and release myself. For instance, if I'm going to hold him and his arm is shorter than mine, come and try to do that. It can push my head, but it cannot push me all the way because my arm is longer than his. So, what happened is, for a short person, as you do the groin attack and the eyes, you continue now the motion with the same hand that pushes head in between his hand. Now look at the motion. I'm going to turn my hand, bring the narrow side as close as I can to his wrist. From here, hold tight, tight, to here. As you do that, you open a little bit your elbow and see what happened. Because of the shoulder twist, it's going to open. Hold really tight, 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 tighter, tighter. And now if you twist with that, you have a lot of force to attack from the back. So one more time. Establish balance. Groin attack. Pushing fingers to the eyes. Pushing underneath the chin to the eyes right now. In reality, I'm going to push from the nose, which is stronger. Pushing fingers to the eyes. And now, twisting the hand to here. From here to here, very close. Pivoting and attacking. Option that we have is grabbing the fingers. This is how we do it. We're sinking the finger into my own neck, underneath his finger, and grab it. The one on the top, I'm grabbing the finger as hard as I can. From that moment, I'm going to lift only one arm up. One. As I do that, I'm twisting through the arms that I did not lift. That means the left side of mine. Twisting, coming behind him. Stand up, stand up, stand up. And make sure that you turn the hand this way. So at that position right now, I'm pushing the fingers toward him and move backward. See it one more time. Sinking in, fingers open. Lift one arm up. Pivot through the other one. To here. Fingers going now toward his nose. Move backward. Elbow restraint from the back could be extremely painful. First, I'm going to show you what I mean by that. But if somebody grab your hand from the back and lift it up, there is a pressure that's traveling to your shoulder, because there are two tendons connecting from the shoulder to the elbow. As I lift up, you feel the pressure. As bulkier as a person is, and is quite heavy, strong guy, it's easier to do that because they have less flexibility in most of the cases. As you lift here, it's not even coming to 90 degrees and you start feeling the pressure. If I take somebody a little bit slimmer, one of my other students, Roman, and you can see I'm going to lift the hand now and keep lifting the hand and keep lifting the hand and keep lifting the hand, and still nothing happened. So what I have to do with him is either continue a little bit more, and then you're going to feel it, or change the angle. You go here and then to the outside. So there is a pressure that's coming against people that have a lot of flexibility all the way up here and then outside there. And then he's going to feel the pressure. But what we're going to do now is we're going to deal, thank you, Roman, with how to stop that. If somebody doing it to you, one of the easiest way to stop it, as you start moving your hand, grab your own pants and hold it tight. You can grab here as you try to lift. You cannot do that. And in the meantime, you can turn and hit him. Grabbing your pants could be any place, as long as it's not here on your shirt up. You have to grab it underneath. Sometimes you can grab his own shirt or his own groin. It doesn't matter. But you grab something, you cannot lift it up anymore. So as you lift, you trap, turn elbow to the face. The other way to escape is moving your hip. So he is lifting you up here. What you do, you move your hip and bring it forward. Now he cannot do it. One more time. He is lifting, you're coming here. He is lifting, you coming here. Obviously, we will punish later. Let's do it strongly. Because he is not controlling your legs. Again. Now, you can do it with one hand and grab your T-shirt on the back. So that's more restraining, but it's still not restraining my hips. Hold tight. Now there is no armlet. Again. And here I am. There is no arm lock. He still hold me, but I can escape and do things now. I'm going to teach you now to deal with somebody who grab your lapel. We're going to deal with one hand and later on with two hands on the lapel. Obviously that somebody grab you this way is kind of angry. You want to continue. It could be with a punch later or headbutt or pull you or push you. And when he's doing that, obviously pull, the same position. You have his face to any kind of attacks that he can do, and we learn a lot of that, and his groin. We are not going to repeat that every time. I'm going to show you techniques in addition to the regular pressure points. So what I do here, since the arm is bent, if he's holding with the right hand, I'm moving my right hand. So that's a cross hand underneath and grabbing from the outside of his elbow, scooping underneath. Now from here, if I pull the elbow in, he's turning. If I'm going to do it with a little bit more force, it's going to involve my right foot, which is under the right hand. So I'm moving with my foot. So cross hold, the cross feet, moving together. When I twist him this way, he's already in a position that is very vulnerable. His center of gravity is backward, it's easy to take him down. So what I do here, I'm pulling, and now I can grab his nose and pull back, or grab his hair and pull back, or hit his nose and take him back. To assist, I'm kicking also the back of his knee, just to buckle him a bit. So it's from here to here. Let's see that one more time, in slow motion. And obviously, after you train a little bit each part by itself, you try to combine it in slow motion all together. Another option that we have is basically hit the groin, take him with the elbow lock. Let's see how I did that. So, first of all, the hand in front of that hand will going to be inserted from the inside. I want to grab the wrist as close as I can to my lapel. In order to do that, it will be impossible to stay in this position and try to grab. So what I do, I'm actually pivoting my shoulders. Now I can hold from here to here. When I have that, now you can see that it's easy to get to his groin with the other hand. This is going there. From here to here. So I'm having that motion. This hand continues now underneath the elbow. I'm actually not just placing it there, I'm pulling toward me. So once again, you see that by pulling this elbow in and pushing this part away, his body starts to feel it and he's going to turn. One, and pulling. This hand going to be locked on the other hand. And from this position, all I have to do is raise my right elbow up. take him down. No strength involved. It could be a huge man. If you do it properly, he's going to fall. So, 1. Let's pay attention now to the legs and the hips pivot. As you can see, while I'm moving my arms, I'm actually pivoting with my legs. My weight will be mostly on the heels when I pivot. So I'm pivot to one direction and coming back later to here. We're going to deal now with a sucker punch, a hook punch. My student Kevin will be demonstrating the hook. First, show them what's hook look like. To the camera,
Okay.
yeah. It can come in very wild way too, as a wild shot, as a sucker punch, somebody turning and coming to you, and that could be very dangerous. But it's travel in a semicircle motion. What we want to do now is basically shifting block. What I'm doing, I'm using my elbow to shift his traveling hand. So I'm not squaring to him, I'm standing sideways to him. And as he comes forward, this is the elbows that lifting up and basically pushing his elbow in. While I'm doing that, I'm grabbing his wrist with the other hand. I want you to see it from the front so you can see the shifting. And I'm going to be on my knees. You can see it right there. As it's traveling forward, this is going to shift it in, and I grab here. Now, as soon as you do that, you have a full control. What you want to do is to swing by shifting and shuffling behind him. This is the position that I am now. His arm become 90 degrees. This is exactly the position that we learn how to avoid by grabbing the t-shirt now. As more I lift here, as more pressure is going to feel on his shoulder. He tried to trap his shirt, it was too late for him. Now, in order for me to take a big person down, I can take him from here because I'm strong, but some people will not be able to. So what you want to do is continue the shifting. You're just moving in a semicircle to the other side, pushing the head. Usually it's a punch here. If they have hair, we grab the hair, moving to the front, and now pay attention. Let's say I don't have any strength, and I want to pull the arm, I'm just going back with my legs. The pressure happening. Resting on his head, putting my hand on his elbow, and bend. The pressure is very strong. Let's see that one more time. After you block, and it's shifting block, you grab the wrist together. Moving behind him. Lifting up. As you turn, pressure here. And from here I start pulling, keeping distance from him. Sit on his head, and the pressure is there. going to deal now with a straight punch. When straight punch coming to your face, staying in the same square with him would be a big mistake. Obviously, if you're a boxer, you try to block and go in. We are not dealing as a boxer against boxer, or as a Muay Thai against Muay Thai, or even as a Jiu-Jitsu against Jiu-Jitsu. We just become nasty as much as possible. So what we do is we're shifting ourselves to the side and trapping the hand. Shifting the hand to the side, meaning we're just turning and blocking the hand from the outside. In order for you to do that, all you have to focus on the front foot, your front foot. When he's coming in, I'm stepping out and turning my foot. By turning my foot, this angle, I'm turning my shoulder. This is going to help me to be out of the punch, especially if I push the hand aside. Here I am. Come right to my face, don't worry. Here I am. Right to my face. So, you see, it's force traveling forward. I don't want to stop this force. I like this force. I want to take advantage of that. So what I do is I'm not just shifting the hand, I'm actually let it continue over there. So as he comes, I'm not going to do now the knee. I'm just going to show you the hand work. So my hand continues force over there. Just shifting over there. Now, depends on his height. If he's a tall man, I'm going to give the knee to the groin. If he's a short person, I'm going to the solar plexus as I got him just before. Solar plexus, right here. And this could be just as damaging. So, because of the height differences, I will show you to the solar plexus. As I come here, the back foot, going right here to the solar plexus. As I'm pulling with my hand. The next I want to deal with front attack. We learned few positions. We're going to learn some more today. Front attack, first show the front attack. Okay, what we're going to learn now is to scoop the knife. So what I do is I'm going here and take the knife. Let's see how I did that. This time, I'm not just turning 90 degrees to him. I'm turning, and actually turning slightly more, so I'm almost the same position of him. It's almost like 180. Trapping this hand by holding it tight here. Block, tight. Block, tight. The other hand coming on the top, pushing the wrist in. Now I can scoop the knife. That's it, one more time. Now, I want you to pay attention that the most important thing is that when you turn, you really want to be behind his triceps. Why I want to be behind his triceps? Because if he's trying to pull the hand back, my body's stopping. If I will be sideways to him, he can pull the hand out. So I want to turn to here, so when he's doing that, my body stop, and in the meantime I can do this. So it's crucial for you to turn. Do this, turn. Now you can take the knife. One option that you have when he's holding you is bend your knees and arch your back to a point that you grab his head. Okay? Bring your head to the other side so I can see it. Take your head. There you go. So, first thing, you have to make sure to take his head. As you bend your knees, now you bring your pelvis very close to him, right here. Make sure that you roll his head deep inside and flip him over. However, if you keep holding you, you're actually rolling on top of him. Since this is a difference of weights between us, we are not going to do that. But for you to know, if we keep holding you, rolling on top of him on cement will keep you safe and him not, because you're falling right on him. So one more time, the head is here. Bring your butt close to him. Flip down and finish. We're still dealing with bear hug from behind, underarm, but this time a big person lifting a small person. So when you lift it up, you still are not vulnerable. You can do a lot of things. First of all, we show you a situation that you've been lifted up by a bigger person. So Marcus will going to lift up Deb. He's coming from the back, she's not ready, and he's lifting her up. Now, what you want to do is to use his momentum of lifting her up and continue her hips up at the same time. So let's do just this move. As you lift up, she's moving her pelvis forward up in the air. That will help her to come back with a beautiful kick to the groin. One more time. As you lift, she lifts her pelvis and come back right to the groin. Obviously, the reaction of any person, of any man that got hit to the groin, is to let go. And then she can continue with finishing with different ways. We chose to show you the elbows to the face, but there are many different ways to finish, as you already know at that stage. Now, if you don't possess the possibility to lift your pelvis up because you need some abs, muscle, and so on, and you're not strong enough, you can do the second way to do it. When you are going to lift her now, she's going to place one leg on your foot, on your feet, and lift herself up. So let's see that. She's going to support herself with one leg on his leg and lift herself up. Lift, you lift, and she lift. Let's see that from the other side. Okay, so you just turn around. Okay, and when you do that, you just keep lifting the same way. She's just going to place a leg there and lift up. That will help her to take her pelvis away. Because this is a second way to make sure that your pelvis is far enough so you can come back with a kick or with a heel to the groin. is a third way to do the escape. It's based on what we did with escape from bear hug from behind when we are on the floor, with tapping on the pressure points that I just show you. So let's see that when you're going to be lifting her up from there. This is facing the camera, and let's do that. And immediately after she lands, she is turning around with elbow to the face. So let's do that all together. That's right. If he's much taller than her, she can basically come with the head to, like the back of her head to his face. So let's do that. That's kind of a back head butt. Sideways, I think it'll be better. As you lift her.
Sideways?
Yeah. And go. Of course, she's going to do it strong, right to the nose. All right. Obviously, you can combine the two things together, head butt and tapping on the hands and the groin. Everything can be worked together. Let's see one that you combine few things together. Go. That's it. Bear hug over the arms. This is a situation that your arms are held and he's coming from the front, usually a bigger person than you. So as he grabs you, grabbing his groin is the easiest one to do. Just your hands are there. So bend your knees and grab the groin. Second is bring your knee back and to the groin, as we know. So those two will be the first choice to do. The third is you bending down, lift your elbow up, and now you can go with elbows to his face. Again, first one, groin. Second one, groin. Third, you can also bring your hands slightly down by bending your knees, grabbing behind his chin and arching him. Bring him to the floor. Let's see that one more time. For this one, if he's holding your hands really tight, first go to the groin. You have some space, slide down, bring your hands up, arch him. Bring him down, and from here you can fight. Another option, in a very severe situation that you're much smaller than him, we bite the ear and tilt the head, or bite the nose and tilt the head. This is a situation that you have no other choice. when he grabs you, you basically move your hands to the back of him and kick the groin so you have space. Now you enter, take down, and punch the neck. We're going to deal now with a situation that somebody come and grab his two hands, your lapel. Basically, he's holding you this way, kind of pushing, pulling, shoving, and so on. Again, this is a very stupid hold, but I guess there are stupid people on earth. So when he's doing that, he's giving you a lot of opportunity to mess up his face. His face is right there. You can do a lot of damage. We do the head twist here, very simple. Usually the fastest way to take somebody down. One hand from the back, one from the nose, turning, taking down, finishing. Another option that you're having is lifting your hand up, pulling your elbow together and hit it, but not down, but toward your body. This is a position that you do and stepping back. And from here, knee to the face. Let's see that one more time. Lift your elbow up, make sure that they are solid, and from here the pressure is on his elbow, mid-elbow, toward your body here. As you do that, you're stepping back. One more option. As he holds you, put your fingers right on the thumb. Start pressure is going down. Let's see that one more time. See his thumb? Your thumb on top of his thumb. You push it in and outside. See a close-up? Right here. Push down. He's immediately let go. Pressure down. We're going to deal now with wild punches. Wild punches is most likely going to be like a hook punches. So when he throws the first hook, I'm blocking it. The blocking has to be anywhere between the mid of his elbow to here. You want to stay around here. If you pass and block around the biceps, you're going to get it. So this is where you want to block. You're blocking with the narrow side of your hand right here. Stepping, blocking. Go again, blocking. Now, you're trapping the head. And the way you grab your hands behind, it'll be this way. The reason we do that is to keep our elbows closed. This way, I can actually maintain a closed elbows on his chest. If I'm going to hold that way, you see that it's not as close as that way. As soon as I do that, it's hard for him to enter his hand. This is a good position right now to control the head. As I'm doing that, keeping the hand and bringing the elbow to the center of his chest, close to each other, I'm going to lower my base by stepping back. Lowering the base will create more pressure on his head. From here, the knee on the back going to enter to his groin. And if his head is down, it's going to be right to his head. Let's look at the move now. This is a front kick attack, and I'm hooking from the side. So as he attack, I'm turning 180 degree and trap it from the outside. One more time. This is a hook. As you see, immediately he's losing balance. I'm using the momentum here to lift the heel. So the other hand coming underneath, and I'm going to punch the heel, lifting up. We're going to deal now with slashing around the stomach area. This is a slashing that's going to happen. What you have to remember when you're working with somebody that start moving with a slash motion, you have to keep a very good distance. And you have to work with his timing. You have to basically time his hand. If you pay attention now, if I'm slashing you now, this is one motion, and then my hand coming from here. And now, what you really want to do is to try to get the arm when it's coming to here on the way back. You do not want to come and grab the knife from the inside. And I show you what I mean. If he slash me and I'm coming from the inside to try to block, I'm very close to a position that with this hand, he can punch, he can hurt me, take me down, and so forth. The first thing I want to do is to stay with the side to the opponent. I don't want to square to him, so I will have more space to slash. I'm basically with the side, closing myself. My feet can shuffle back and forth, and I really have to move away from any slash and try to catch it from the outside. This will be a good timing. Right now, when I grab it from the outside, I can react and do different techniques. If I miss this one, I have to let it go and wait for the second opportunity to do that. You trap the hand as strong as you can and take him from here down. And the knife is in your hand. Let's see that. You time it. You block it. One hand holding very strongly the wrist. He's most likely going to try to pull the hand out. Try to pull, which is okay. You bring your hand to the other side of the nose, lift up, and twist. As you twist, put your knee right behind his elbow, twist it to the outside. There is a pressure on the wrist. Now.
When you're learning to roll over obstacles, you don't want to start with the biggest thing you can find. Obviously, you want to start from a small obstacle and work your way up. You can use kicking pads. Chairs are not such a great idea because they're hard. You want to start with something soft because in all probability there's a good chance you might hurt yourself. If you have a partner, you can also use your partner if he's brave. Joel, are you brave? You trust me?
Sure.
So the first position to start is very simple. I'm starting with my partner just being rolling flat on his stomach. The obstacle is actually more a psychological barrier, because usually when you're practicing, you're going to be able to roll over something this big anyways. But it's getting used to the footing and the placement of the hands. So if I'm going to do now the left side, just because my left foot is forward now, I'm going to be placing my right hand on the other side of him. So in other words, I don't want to do this and roll over him. I actually want to step over with my hand and literally almost like jump over him from here. Yeah, from here. If I can do this, I get used to this kind of height, I can start working my way up. So the next level, as opposed to being flat, I'm going to ask my partner to go what we call 8 position. 8 because there's 8 points touching the ground. And from here, depending on how big I am and how comfortable I am, I can get him to come even lower, even from here, or open up a little bit. Same thing. If I do the left side, the left foot is forward. Bring the right hand on the other side, and I need a little bit more of a jump from here. This is where it starts to get a little bit riskier because the damage now is going to be greater. I'm falling from a greater height. There's more impetus from here. So I have to make sure that my shoulder is going to be very much protected and the angle that I'm rolling is good. As it starts to get higher, we go to what we call 6 position now, 6 points. So the same thing. Now, no, you can have a base now, especially if I fall on you. You want to be wide with your hands, otherwise your face is going to kiss the ground. So from here, he's going to have 8 points on the ground. Actually, this is more 6 points on the ground, and obviously it's a little bit higher. If I get more comfortable from this stage, I can ask him to go to another position, which will be higher.